Hey guys, Paycheck here. As of late, I've been doing a lot of endgame juiced farming for quantity and rarity, and feel like I've found a pretty good amount of success with it. So, wanted to make a guide and show you guys exactly how I go about juicing my maps and how you can do the same, and hopefully we'll get you dropping those divines here soon. All right? So, here's what you need to know. All right, so step one is going to be rolling your maps. So first I'll be going over exactly how I was juicing my maps for quantity farming, which is a little bit of a higher investment way of doing things. But if you're just starting off, you don't have a ton of currency right now, and you're just trying to look for ways to juice maps to start making currency, I will have a lower investment option for you. If you go ahead and skip to the next section, section 1B, I'll go over lower investment there. But for right now, I'll go over exactly what I was doing. So let's dive into that. So the first thing that I was looking for on all my maps was at least 20% increased item quantity. The more you can get of that, the better, but that was guaranteed. I have to have that on every single map. In addition to that, I was looking for at least one mod that increases the number of mobs in my map in some type of way. So like on this map as an example, it has the quantity mod, and then it has an additional 22% increased pack size, and it even has 12 additional packs of monsters on there, which is not something that I actively search for, but is a great bonus if it just happens to be there, right? So some more examples: increased magic pack size, another percent increased pack size, increased magic monsters, number of rare monsters, all good stuff. You get the idea. So increased quantity, 20% or higher, and then some type of mod to increase the number of mobs in my map. I did not search for increased rarity at all. I did not put any focus on that. Okay. So once we actually have our maps, the next step on this is exalting them up to 6 mods. The more mods you can get on your map, the better. So we want as many mods as possible, so that's going to be step 1. So we're going to go ahead and exalt these all up to 6 mods, right? And look at that, we even got some nice bonuses. That one increased the rarity on it, more increased rarity. So you can get some good stuff just from exalting them, right? So always worth it. The next step after that, once we have our maps at 6 mods, is going to be applying delirium oils. So there's 2 types of oils that I was using. Distilled gilt for increased pack size is always a good option. One way of kind of indirectly increasing the number of items that you're actually getting in your map is not just by increasing actual item quantity mods, but by just increasing the number of mobs that you're killing. So distilled gilt, giving you increased pack size, is a fantastic option. I use that a lot. The other option would be distilled paranoia. It is a higher investment, but it gives you a pretty substantial increase to the number of rare monsters. Rare monsters do have increased rarity on them. They can drop a lot of really good items, so it is a very good mod to be looking for to just juice your rares as much as possible. But again, a little bit higher investment. So up to you. They both work fantastic. For these examples, I'll just do a little bit of both because I do frequently switch between the two. All right, so we're getting our oils applied, and then the next step, once we are done with that, we have them exalted to 6 mods, we have the delirium oil applied. The last step is going to be to vol them. So with a vol orb, there's 2 things that we're looking for primarily. The first is a mod gets added, or any mods get added to your map. So we just have more mods on the map. That is always good. The more mods we can get on our maps, the better, and I'll explain exactly why once we start taking a look at the Atlas passive tree that I use. So that's one good option. The other good option that we're looking for is to switch all suffix mods into more prefix mods. All the prefixes mods, for the most part, are pretty dang useful. Those are all the mods like quantity, rarity, and things that add to your pack size. So those are all great options. So that's the other main thing that I look for when I'm corrupting my maps. All the other corruptions are still beneficial, at least in some way, to some people. You can corrupt and upgrade to a tier 16, which a lot of people think that that's an amazing outcome. It can be, but for the purposes of just quantity farming and farming for currency in particular, the tier of map that you're doing does not impact the currency that you're getting. So whether you have a tier 1 mod, tier 1 map or a tier 16 map, either way you will be getting the same currency drops between the two. The only thing that the tier of the waystone or map is going to affect is the item level of the gear that you're finding, but it does not affect currency drops. So upgrading to tier 16, I treat that as neutral for this. The other option is, well, there's no change, which is obviously neutral, and then the final corruption outcome is switching all prefixes to suffixes, which I treat mostly as a brick, but there is a silver lining to that. If all mods get switched to suffixes, the map is no longer good for quantity farming, but having a lot of suffixes increases your waystone drop chance significantly. So those maps then become good for things like fragment farming inside of citadels, because that's how you get increased fragment drops from the citadel bosses. So silver lining, but those maps just won't be used for what we're going for. But that's the final step in rolling our maps, so let's see what we get. So right off the bat, I see we got one tier 16, so that's kind of neutral. And then it looks like this one added a mod, so that's excellent. Looks like it added maybe number of rare monsters, which is awesome. This one, everything got switched to suffixes, so we'll use that maybe for a Citadel boss. Let's see. Looks like we got mods added to that one as well, so that's a good outcome. And then looks like that one was no change. All right. So pretty good outcomes on all those, but that's the end of rolling your maps. So let's go ahead and get to the next section. All right, so for this section, I'll be going over a lower investment way of juicing your maps. If you're an individual that's okay with the higher investment strategy of rolling maps that I discussed in the previous section, go ahead and skip on to section 2. But for those of you looking for the lower investment strats, then this is the section for you. So the main premium, the main cost from rolling your quantity maps is the increased quantity mod itself. So for low investment strategies, we're just going to remove the quantity mod and we're going to replace that with more pack size. So we're just going to increase our drops by adding as many monsters as possible to our maps. So when I'm looking at these maps, there's two main mods that I'm looking for. One is going to be increased pack size, and then the second is increased number of monster packs. Those two mods specifically are the ones that I like to look for. Really, anything that adds monster packs to your map is acceptable, but those are the main two that I like to look for. If you can get a third mod that adds more monsters, like this one as an example, says contains 11 additional packs of Iron Guards, anything along those lines that adds more monsters is all great. That's what you're looking for. But at a minimum, I look for just the two. From there, the process is exactly the same. So we're going to exalt our maps up to the maximum. So they all have 6 mods, and look at that, I exalted this one and I got 100% rarity. So a lot of good things can happen from exalting your maps. And then from there, you're always going to be using Distilled Guilt for this, just because that adds even more pack size, and that is exactly what we want. So I'm going to add all of these, Distilled Guilt. All right, so now we have our maps with 6 mods, and we have the Delirium Oil applied for even more pack size. And then from there, we're voling them. We're looking for the exact same outcomes as the high investment strategies, right? Step 2 is rolling your tablets. So I'll first begin by showing what I was using during my currency farm, and then afterwards I'll go into some lower investment alternatives that you can use. So right from the get-go, the only tablet that I use is breach tablets. That's the best way to increase the number of packs in your maps, which is very important. So all I used is breach tablets, and every single tablet that I ran, I made sure to get increased quantity on it. In addition to increased quantity, I would look for one of 4 mods. those mods were increased monster density, increased magic monsters, chance to contain an additional breach, and chance to contain 3 additional breaches. Those 4 types of tablets are the only ones that I ran. So basically increased quantity and then mods that increase monster density or number of breaches in your maps. Those were all I ran, and in addition to that, I made sure that all of them affected 9 or 10 maps in range. Even though all the maps around your tower will get the quantity bonus, I wanted as many of my maps as possible to actually have those breaches, and if they didn't have breaches, then I did not run them. Okay, so that's everything that I ran, and as always, down in the description below, I'll make sure to put a trade link search for you guys so that you can easily find these tablets for yourselves. All right, now we'll look at some low investment tablets. So if you're okay with the high investment tablets that I talked about in the previous section, go ahead and skip on to section 3. But if you're looking for lower cost tablets, then this will be the section for you. So once again, the only difference between the low investment and high investment is going to be removing and replacing the increased quantity mod. So again, we're just going to look at removing quantity and replacing that with things like increased pack size, increased magic monsters in your maps, or increased rare monsters. There's a few mods that actually work for this, but as always, I'll have a trade search down in the description for you so that you can find exactly what you're looking for. Lastly, we'll be looking at the Atlas tree that I was using for this process. I've seen people set these up a couple of different ways, but this is what I settled on, and I feel like it works pretty well. So a couple things that I'll point out for this. The unstable energies and grueling journey combo being a big one. Unstable energies gives a chance for 25% more effect of prefix mods, which includes your quantity, rarity, pack size, all the most important mods we're looking for. And then this grueling journey node is why I was saying earlier we want to exalt our maps up to maximum, and why we want to corrupt maps for a chance to get even more mods, because this node makes it so that the more mods we have on our map, the more effect those mods actually get, right? So very good notable. I also took the Lucky Pillage on the way, 5% increased quantity, always solid. The more quantity we can get, the better. At the bottom, Deadly Evolution for some beefed up rares. Rares having more mods increases their rarity, so the more beefed up we can get our rare mobs, the better drops that they're actually going to have for us, better chances of higher tier currency. In addition to that, my other favorite combo up here is Remnants of Power and Enigmatic Intensification. So Remnants of Power, chance for double the effect of precursor tablets. So those fancy tablets that we were just buying for our breaches that give increased quantity and increased monster density, they have a chance to have double their effect. And then pair that with Enigmatic Intensification, which says increased effect of explicit mods on your waystones or maps for each tower affecting an area. So if you are on your Atlas and you have a whole lot of towers in one section, well, in those towers, you're going to put a whole bunch of tablets. Hopefully they get double the effect, and all of those towers being nearby increases the effect of the mods on your maps, which are then boosted even further by unstable energies and grueling journey. So it all just combos very strong together. So highly recommend that combo of 4 nodes there. I use that for pretty much everything that I'm farming in the game. It's very strong. And then my last 3 points that I had left over, I just put into Rising Danger for a few extra rare mobs in the map. Okay, so that's the main Atlas tree. For the league specific trees, the only one that I paid any attention to is the Breach tree. This strategy does not involve any of the others pretty much at all. So the main notables that we want from Breach is Rising Pyre for the 40% increased monster density, and the Crumbling Walls, which is my favorite one. When this actually procs, you can get so many breaches, and when it happens, it just feels so good. Those maps are so fun when it actually happens. So those 2 are guaranteed picks for me, and then the last one can be interchanged a little bit. It's kind of optional. If you have a fast, strong build, then interdimensional assault is a great choice. Makes your breaches open and close faster, but you get a lot more density, 15% increased monster density. So if your build is fast, go with this. I highly recommend it. If you're a little bit slower, or if you're just getting started out, then Grasping Hands would probably be my next choice. I did use this for a very long time. Just a chance for increased magic monsters in your breaches, basically. So a good alternative if you don't want to take the interdimensional assault. And as a final option, you could also go Sustained Siege if you just want more time to clear those breaches if you're struggling to actually keep up with them. So all of those are totally fine options. The final tree, the boss tree, the really only important thing on here is the final node, Beyond Reality, for the chance to contain corruption. If you have corruption on a map, then you can end up, as you're killing monsters, they can summon monsters from beyond, which is a PoE1 mechanic. But basically, as you're killing monsters, more monsters will spawn from beneath them, which just increases your monster density even further, which is exactly what we're looking for. More monsters is good. So that's by far the most important one. Other than that, I took the Shrine node. Shrine nodes, different shrines can increase your clear speed or increase your rarity even, so not a bad choice. That's what I went with. And at the bottom I went with quantity from map bosses because I just think that's better than the rarity from map bosses. So that's what I went with. But that does it for the Atlas tree. Well, thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully that was beneficial and helped you in some kind of a way. Any questions that you have for me, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. I try to read through them pretty frequently and help out as best I can. And other than that, I look forward to hearing about you guys finding your first divine, your 100th divine, 1000th divine, and maybe even your first and second mirror. All right, so best of luck to you all, and I'll see you all next time.